Ladies, gentlemen, and children from around the world, welcome to the Kegel Show once again. I am Don Agent. I'll be your host this week, and with me today is a very dear friend of mine and somebody I've worked together with for over 2 decades, Mike Purdy. Mike, thanks for coming on, brother.
Thanks for having me, bud.
You've got, it's hard to kind of intro you. You've had a pretty wild career in bowling. I mean, essentially, you and I met when you were working for AMF at the time.
AMF Century, yeah.
And for tech support on lane machines then, and then that actually ended up being somewhat of an interview, and then you were down here, and you actually just got your 20-year flame at our Christmas party this last year. Congratulations
thank
on
you.
that. Title-wise, I mean, you're like a lot of us. I mean, you pretty much do everything. You've traveled around the world. You have done tournaments all around the world. You do tech support and development for our new product line of Specto, lane machines. I mean, pretty much the whole gambit, obviously. But for the last 10 years, what we're here to talk about today, you've been doing extensive traveling throughout South and Central America, and you've done some gigs in the Caribbean as well.
North America, Canada.
Yeah, and that really, a lot of this wraps around, PABCON. And for the audience, what does PABCON actually represent?
Well, PABCON is Pan American Bowling Congress. They fall underneath the same umbrella as, under the WB.
Okay.
And it's the Latin America, like I said, U.S., Canada, anywhere from Canada all the way down to Chile. There's 15, 20 countries involved on a good tournament, upwards of 20. And it's like a big family when they get to go to these tournaments, and I love doing it.
And it's one of the 3 zones, because we've only got Asian,
absolutely.
Europe, and obviously the Americas. Unbelievable. How many countries, you said 20 at a good tournament. When you go to these countries, what do you do to prepare for some of these events? I mean, what's some of the stuff that goes behind doing tournaments?
Just like any other tournament, you call ahead, as we do as technicians, call ahead, see what the lane surface is, machine that's going to be used, the chemicals, pattern selection, 3 months in advance. Get that to Martine Faba, who's the president of the PABCON Federation. Just typical preparation.
And have you had any challenges down there? Have you had anything that's happened like that, shipping or anything like that?
I've had some crazy personal things happen down there that
we'll keep amongst ourselves.
Yeah. No, it's just, you get out of our own little niche here into another country, never know what's going to happen.
Game on, yeah.
As far as challenges goes, just the language barrier at the beginning 10 years ago, but now I can get around a bowling center pretty easy with my small immersion of Spanish that I've forced to learn.
There's some unbelievable talent, obviously, down south. Who are some of the players that stick out in your mind specifically from South and Central America?
Man, over the 10 years, you see them youth grow up to the adult, and then now women's tour, both men and women's tour, you got a pretty good selection. Andres Gomez, obviously Amuleto from Venezuela is down there. Marcelo Swartz bowled with us, bowled here at
Another
Weber.
Phenomenal player, yeah.
Another phenomenal player. Lucas Lignani. Canadian players. There's a few of them. Canadian players out on the men's tour.
Mark and Caroline were good.
Oh, absolutely.
Still,
they definitely
not saying they're not now.
They
but
both.
yeah.
When I first met them was 10 years ago on the PABCON events. But women, I mean, the Columbia women there's 4 or 5 that are on the women's tour that are successful. Marie Jose Rodriguez, one of the queens, Clara Rocio, Ame from Dominican. She's done well worldwide. She's done well.
Absolutely.
But all over. It's just, and obviously, we forget the U.S. players. We see them pretty much all the time for the last 10 years,
Exactly.
but they're without question. But team-wise, it's kind of neat because collectively, Colombia, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Dominican, they really they pushed the Americans to succeed. Yeah, they're really
So
on
it's not
town.
just go down for us and do a clean sweep by any means.
It's not a vacation by any means. It's a fun event to watch, all of them.
I'm glad to hear that. How many countries do you think you've been to down there?
It's easier probably to say how many I haven't been to be honest. All of South America, with the exception of Northeast, I think it's New Guinea, Uruguay I haven't been to, Paraguay. But other than that, and then Central America, other than Honduras and Belize. I think I've been all through there. Wow. And then Dominican, Puerto Rico, and Canada. So
that doesn't include all the U.S. you've traveled, as well as I know you've been to Sweden and Europe and different destinations over there as well.
But no, it's fun.
So, what is your favorite destination and event? I know it can be tough singling out, but
each one has its own little thing to it that really takes you in.
So,
but I mean, who's going to argue with Rio de Janeiro and going to Brazil for a tournament? I mean, Jonathan down there is great. Puts us up on the beach down there. I mean, that's not a bad thing to do. No, that doesn't hurt anything. And then, but each country, like I said, the extended family, Mauricio in Costa Rica treats me. I mean, they all treat me well down there, and it's just like I said, it's just extended family. Over the last 10 years,
nobody else that's really went down there since you've embraced that.
I've done every tournament. I've been thinking about this. I think I've done every tournament the last 10 years except for one or two. I think Terry Owens did one. And I think there might be one other one, but that's been.
I know you've embraced that as your baby without a doubt.
Yeah, it started out with I want to add this Jose Guandique, who's not doing well right now, and God bless you.
Our thoughts go out to him without a doubt.
Absolutely. And then Martin Fava is now the president and took over for Jose and is doing a phenomenal job, very well. So
that's excellent, man. So let's tie into something else. What about, you got a favorite food?
Again, wow. Again, Brazil and Argentina. Actually, Argentina meat is pretty well. Mm-hmm. Lucas taken me under his wing down there and showed me around when I was in Argentina. Dominican. I mean, Presidente beer should have its own food group. I mean, that's one of my favorites.
I love it.
Street tacos in Mexico. You got to have an authentic taco from Mexico. That's really well. And paella. From Puerto Rico.
I've had paella in Spain. I liked it. Man.
It's something. It's very standard stuff that goes in it, but I think that little heart, that little love that goes into it, makes it all worthwhile.
Makes an amazing dish, without a doubt. How about, let's change gears. You growing up, because I know your history. You're a pretty impressive player. I mean, you're a pretty good competitor. I know you went through some surgery recently. Unfortunately, it's put you back a step right now, but who was your favorite female and male bowler growing up?
Wow, 70s on TV. I loved watching Mark Roth.
So many.
Roth. I mean, the list is long. Holman was always fun to watch, and obviously Earl. 80s, Wayne Webb. I got to watch him and admired him. Lisa Wagner, back from the 80s, late 80s, when
she was good.
She had a time there that just
she crushed it.
No one could beat her. Kind of like what Liz is doing as of the last decade. But Joe Norris in San Diego. I grew up. My first league was with Joe Norris.
No way.
Now he's since passed. But just a real quick story. I had the first 11 in a row, and as a kid, I was 18, 19, 18. First 11 in a row, and I 3-6-10, missed it. Typical kid. I'm pissed off, put my equipment away. I go to the snack bar, and hand comes on my shoulder, and it's Joe. And I was like, yes, Joe. He goes, back in our day, we bowled with ties, and I had the first 11 in a row one time, and I leaned over, and my tie got stuck in the thumb hole. I threw it in the gutter, and I got 290. Yeah, right, Joe. Right, Joe. I laughed. What a classic. And that's, I have his autographed litho on my wall in there. So,
oh, man. Didn't he get close to or end up having the record for most pins?
At one point, I don't think he holds that record anymore, he held it over 200,000 pins knocked down and averaged over 200. In that league I was telling you about, he was still averaging over 205 at 80 years old.
What an icon he was,
absolutely.
I'll tell you what. All right. I always like to end with this question, but we're going to end with two for you. So we're going to start off with, got any advice for any of our up-and-coming young bowlers?
Don't let anyone tell you you can't do anything. Stay positive. Keep on knocking at the door until it caves in. It will cave in.
That's pretty solid advice. You can use that pretty much in anything in life.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. Then, we've had some viewers and even some employees have sent in a list of questions and try and knock a couple off, or at least one on every show. I thought this one was perfect for you. All right, and basically, the question was, what drives somebody like yourself, you've been in bowling pretty much all your life, okay, to get up every morning and continue to basically do this?
It's all this innovation. I mean, coming up with new, color scheme has been always fun. It's just innovation. See what's coming next around the corner. I mean, who thought that, we did lanes back in early 80s, pushing that Century 100 at the time, and God, we wish they'd do them by themselves. Mm-hmm. And I remember it, when John Davis knocked on the table at the expo, and out comes a walking machine. And everybody was climbing over chairs. Everyone was climbing over the chairs to see the machine. So, yeah.
Chills.
Innovation.
Great answer. Mike, it is always a pleasure, buddy, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
We'll catch up with you a little bit later.
Got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap for today. Keep those wrenches turning, and have a wonderful day.